Batman v Superman, it's opening weekend, it's finally here. And what a disconnect in the response between professional critics and fans who love this movie. I've been trying to articulate my opinion of this movie since I saw it 4 nights ago. And even though there's a lot of problems I had with Man of Steel that they've brought forward into this movie, on its own merits, I think I have to declare that Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice is the perfect movie. And let me explain. I'm gonna do full spoilers in this video because it's more about the discussion amongst people who've already seen it than it is supposed to be a review of the movie. Everything I have to say about this movie begins with the ending. I don't have anything to add to the non-spoiler discussion that hasn't already been said by all of the other YouTubers who talk about this stuff. Okay, I saw this movie and at first I thought I didn't like it. I remember getting home from Man of Steel and the passionate discussions we had about that movie, and I was looking forward to having those same kinds of passionate discussions about this movie. I was pointing out the flaws in logic, the lapses in story integrity, the difficulties in character development. I was going on everybody's enthusiastic Facebook post commenting, what about this part? What about that part? Then today I was thinking about the CGI slugfest at the end between the heroes and Doomsday, specifically that moment when Doomsday pierces Superman in the chest. And I thought, whatever my personal sensibilities and preferences are, I don't think they could have done a better job of adapting the death of Superman into a movie than they've done here. For sure, there's opinions to be shared about whether or not I would have personally picked that story to be the one that they adapt for the movie where Batman and Superman are going to meet on screen for the first time. But that's me focusing on what the movie's not, instead of giving a fair shake to what the movie is. And for the DC Comics fan who likes the death of Superman story, who looks forward to it when Doomsday's coming back in the comics, who would want Batman to be very involved in an adaptation of it if they're gonna make a movie of it, and who really wants to see the Dark Knight Returns version of Batman on screen, I can't think of how they could have improved on this. I'm thinking of Ken Lashley's art in a recent Doomsday Comics miniseries, and the kind of fan who's into those comics. I think Zack Snyder's style is perfectly suited to that fan's sensibilities. I think that this movie is as perfect an expression of that style as you're ever going to see. And I think Batman v Superman goes further than any superhero movie we've seen so far in forcing cinema to redefine itself to suit the trappings of superhero comic book storytelling, as opposed to adapting comic book stories into movies. Here are some storytelling beats that jumped out at me in a movie, but I wouldn't have even thought of it if I saw it in a comic book. Lex Luthor in the Birthing Matrix. At first I was like, no, that's a cheat to have it where Lex Luthor gets all the Kryptonian knowledge and now he can just make the ship do whatever the story needs it to be able to do. But then I thought that's just the kind of open-ended thing they put into comics to set up possibilities for future stories all the time. Intro of the Justice League. One reviewer explained it by saying that Wonder Woman pauses the movie we're watching to show us trailers for other movies instead of writing those characters' introductions into the story. But having a character discover something on a computer screen so that the audience gets the image of that as a preview to something they're going to be fully introduced to later, that's a pretty common comic book storytelling trope. The jar of, tea that Lex left for the senator. The biggest flaw here is that with no top on the container, the smell of urine would have filled the whole chamber by then. And if I saw it in a comic book, I probably wouldn't think anything of it. The name of the mom being the connection between Batman and Superman and why they stopped fighting. At first I thought it was clunky and dumb screenwriting, but when I put it into the perspective of if it was a plot point in a comic book, I can totally see how those pages would be laid out, right down to the placement of the word balloons. The tall, narrow panel of Batman looking down over Superman with his foot on his neck and the word balloons above his head. I could just see it. It rings truer for me as something you would have seen in a comic book than something that was invented for a movie. And now I kind of think that's the point. The way comics were made for years is that the writer and the artist together cooked up the plot, then the visuals were done first, and the words written in to suit what the artist had already drawn on the page. I feel like Zack Snyder's approach is more like that, where the screenwriting is in service to a visual continuity that's expressed through motion and frame composition and a subtle mood that changes and evolves over the course of the movie. So if you're not a Zack Snyder fan, this movie is not for you. But even then, I don't think you could say that this movie isn't the best and fullest and truest expression of the DC Comics mythology in the Zack Snyder style. And in Batman v Superman, that style takes way more inspiration from comic book storytelling than it does from other movies. Responding to criticism of Avengers Age of Ultron last year, I pointed out that these superhero movies aren't even really movies anymore. They're more like episodes of a really big, really long show. There used to be an expectation that these movies would be self-contained even when they're hinting at things to come or referring to things that we've seen before. But now, like issues of a comic book, they can pretty safely assume that everybody's seen the last one and everybody's going to see the next one. And the audiences can count on there being a next one because the DC and Marvel movie universes are now such a big project that no one movie makes or breaks either one of them. Even if Batman v Superman was a flop, it doesn't change anything because the Wonder Woman movie's still getting made, the Justice League movies, those solo Batman movies with Ben Affleck, they're still getting made. And the other thing they can count on is that us fans are gonna watch these movies over and over and over again until the next one comes out. I think part of what put critics off this movie was the pacing, the furious energy of it. There's so much that leaves you going, whoa, 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 what am I seeing? So that when I tried to do a review of the movie on my vlog channel, I was all, but then, because it's way too much to take in just one viewing. There's so much that's wildly entertaining that even though I thought I had some problems with it after I saw it the first time, I was still feeling like I need to see it again just to take it all in. Which brings us to the real question. Whatever you think of it, does it make you want to pay your money and buy another ticket to see it again? And the answer from me and a lot of fans is yes. What did you think of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice? I want to know what you think, so let me know in the comments below. And get at me on Twitter and Facebook to talk to me about it. Check out my vlog channel for daily updates and more discussion of superhero movies. For more Batman and Superman here on The Sean Ward Show, just last week we put up our epic Batman v Superman trailer parody video. And coming right up, we've got the unboxing of the Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice Hero Pack full of toys and collectibles from Warner Brothers. Thanks for watching, everybody, and don't forget to subscribe for new superhero videos every Friday.